So we wanted to talk about and tell you the 11-year journey of Zaibatsu in this wonderful game city where we're all virtually in. Yes, had some difficulties with Discord, but now that is working and I am right where I'm supposed to be. Zaibatsu Interactive, founded in 2014, based here in Jyväskylä, although now we work a lot remotely as well. Have some 25% of our people living outside of Jyväskylä, and even many living nearby are working remotely at least part of the week. That's the thing for today's work life. Our team is 22 people, and we focus on co-development. So what I mean by that is we work with publishers, IP holders that we partner with, and that gives us a chance to focus purely on game development, whereas the partner then is the one that is doing all the marketing, user acquisition, and, for example, helping us to handle the IP partnerships. So a little bit about myself. So in the beginning, as a young entrepreneurial mind, I already started making games. When I was young, I was playing on my Commodore in my early days, and wanted to make games even back then, but that was somewhat difficult. So waited a few years, moved to QBasic, and made some top-notch games at that time. So text adventure games like games you used to play back then. Of course, some of the more advanced games like King's Quest or Police Quest, they had some VGA graphics as well, but mainly those were also like text input games as well. So QBasic was the first programming language I adopted at the age of 10, and created something meaningful to at least me, Jorman Seikkailut, which is a Finnish text-based adventure game. And if I had to guess, I would assume the game had like maybe 30 players in total in its lifetime. I'm surprised if it's any more. Anyways, fast forwarded to 2007. I started my studies in the University of Jyväskylä, and back then I wasn't really sure of how I could be in the gaming industry. I basically only knew some Finnish companies like Remedy back then. Rovio wasn't a thing yet at that point. So focused on my studies. I'm a master of science IT, so a lot of programming, mainly Java, some C++. We didn't really have any gaming development courses back then, but we had some community, and around 2012, 2013, I went to the first meetings, the meetups we had back then called Expo gatherings. So that was a place to meet people from the industry and people who are willing to make games for a living, and that was kind of a turning point in my personal career in a way that I think it was maybe the first time I realized I could actually make a living out of making games. Like even if I had at least 2 imaginary companies in high school, that never felt like it's realistic to pursue games as a career. So that only happened through EXPA. EXPA is the IGDA hub here in Jyväskylä. So those are pretty much the same thing. So community that brought us together, and through EXPA gameLAB we actually put together our founding team of 6 ambitious people wanting to build something together. And because the gaming industry was basically non-existent here in Jyväskylä, or that's what we thought in that sense, that there are no companies, we decided to found our own business. And 2014, we founded the company, 6 founders, no previous industry experience, although a lot of programming background, some app and software development background. We started in the basement office as every proper startup company should, and we had a lot of ambition, but not really much else. So that's what we started to build on. So what it was like 11 years ago making games. But the community was different. Like I said, there was no Discord or places where you could actually get this kind of positive community things built around common interests. But we did have Ylilauta, which let us know what's our place, and that wasn't very not very motivating at that point. It kind of I think it kind of did encourage us to improve, but at the same time, I nowadays I believe in sharing things early for feedback, and that kind of did the opposite with that. I don't know why they wanted to call us a plague team, but at least they spread the URL, so we got some visibility, and visibility is always good, right? Funny thing, the game that was posted in Ylilauta is actually somewhat still in development, and I'm a bit embarrassed about that fact, but Pop's the Crystal Quest, which is actually the first game we ever started to make, published already in 2015 with Yle as Möllit, is still in development. It's a really good co-op puzzle for people of all ages, and it's currently in Nintendo Logic. So I'm super proud of that fact that we're actually looking to release an actual console game by the end of this year. So a pretty exciting moment for myself. Looking back, I would never recommend anyone to develop a game for 11 years because that doesn't make any sense. I was actually proud to look at some of the other companies that were founded at the same time when they shipped their first games in like 2 months, and those games, like, they were never popular, they got no players, they made no money, but at least they got to develop something else, because we got stuck on this project for a while, especially noting that we had no prior industry experience. But somehow we managed, and from 6 people in 2014, we grew to 28 people by 2022, and after that we've reduced the number to current 22. And what happened here is that well, there was a big impact on the market, but I'm not saying it's that. There were some bigger projects that got cancelled, and we had to do like quite drastic layoffs. But the bigger reason behind us being 22 and not 28 right now is the fact that we focused our business on purely on game development. So in 2022, we made at least 70% of our revenue from software development and mobile app development. So that was something we knew even when we started the company, and those subcontracting deals, app development, software development, they were super important throughout our first almost 10 years. That basically that paid our salaries for that time, and it always felt like a huge risk to pivot only into gaming, especially as we didn't have very wide connections, or we felt that selling new projects or reaching new partners is difficult. Although it does get easier by the year, and it still does. I don't know what business wouldn't. And basically the learnings you get, the things you do and the people you meet. I would want to say that if I started a new company right today, I would be in the same point in less than 3 years. So that's thing that's reassuring to me, that it tells me that I've learned, because I could get to the same point faster. Money-wise, our revenue is steadily increasing, not any massive profits, and also we well, as you can see, 2023 was a very bad financial year. That's when we had the layoffs, but we've recovered since then, and this will actually be our record year in terms of revenue and profit. And of course, the next year will be always bigger and better. So today we are building the company of tomorrow. That's an important mindset to have, that the actions you take and the decisions you make will affect long term as well, and you should always be thinking ahead of what do you want to achieve and what do you want to be doing, because if you're not doing the things that leads you to where you want to be, then you are not doing the right things. I think this is works in all areas of life as well. I've interviewed maybe some 200 people, and there was this one enthusiastic guy who said that he always, like, ever since he was a kid, he always wanted to be a game developer, and like this is his life goal and the meaning of his life and all that, like super enthusiastic about the fact. And then when I asked about like what have you done to help you reach that goal, like have you been to any industry events or taking studies that support your goals, he said no. And he was like, why would I? And that's, I don't know, to me it sounds obvious that if you want to achieve something, then you want to work towards that. But it felt to me like his enthusiasm was getting in the way of his actually succeeding in getting a place in the industry. Our vision as a company is to be a top-tier game studio with prospering products and people. What this means is that we want to be recognized as a good company with high-class games, high-class partners, that our products are good, we make good games, they're profitable games, and that the people within the company enjoy their everyday work life. And our mission, level up ourselves, our games, and our business together with the big players. So fundamentally, it comes down to each one of us. We need to make ourselves the best versions of ourselves we can be, so that we can make the best games that fundamentally form the whole business. And we don't want to be doing this alone in our basement office, which we are not in anymore, by the way. But we want to be doing this with the big players, like some of the biggest publishers and IP holders. And we're actually doing some of that right now. So just less than a month ago, we released Squishmallow's Match together with Eastside Games and Jazzwares. 5 years ago, I would have said that if there's one mobile genre we most likely wouldn't touch, it would be match 3, because it's so competitive. But at the same time, it's one of the biggest genres out there and making tons of money. And there's a lot of players, and there's a reason why match 3 games are so popular, because they are very casual, very well retaining, and this kind of good casual puzzle fun is something that works on mobile really well. The thing is that to build a game like this, there's a lot of technical things, of course. We have a team of 13 people working on this game. We're using a lot of pre-existing tools. We're working constantly with Eastside Games, having calls with them on at least weekly basis. But it takes so much more than that. We started to build relations with Eastside over 5 years ago, and only now we released our first game together with them. And I'm super proud of the team, super proud of the game. It's been just over a month. We have great reviews in both App Store and Google Play. It's the game of the day in Apple App Store in over 70 countries, and we're getting good traction on the game, and the numbers are looking good right now. Before Squish, our biggest project was Boom Cards, co-developed with Fingersoft, and it's actually a game that's still running right now. So we're doing live ops each month, and we're actually developing a VR version of Boom Cards together with Meta. So that's pretty nice. And even though the game is originally started many years ago, and there's a lot of parts of it that we would love to see take a different form, or we could use different tools or solutions. It's still the best equivalent to Mario Kart on mobile, even if you compare it to the actual Mario Kart on mobile, because they never got the right feel to kart racing, in my opinion. Whereas on Switch, of course, Mario Kart is just amazing. And we did some funny stuff too. We did develop Snoop Dogg's Rap Empire. This was actually our second project with East Side Games, and something we built on, and that doing projects together always builds trust, and learning how you two work together. That's the kind of very essence and very important part of any partnership. Is actually doing something together, learning. That can be a team, an indie team working together, a few people, or companies working together, teams working together. There's always a lot to the dynamics and a lot of opportunity to learn and improve. And Rambo Last Click, something we developed together with another Finnish company, QuickSave, and the IP holder Lionsgate. This was our first project with a big IP, and boy, did we learn a lot about working with IPs and getting approvals for things like Rambo's hair color should be dark enough so it's not embarrassing any real life actors who we are not using as a resemblance because of legal reasons. So there's a lot of complexity to that. I'm happy to elaborate more on that, those findings as well. But today we work with a lot of big companies, so I would say that the big players part of our mission is on a right track. In Finland, we're working with almost all of the biggest companies, and then currently a lot of US and North American companies are working with us as well, and a significant amount of revenue is coming from international sales. So that's a good place to be. That also means that I travel quite a bit. But that's so far been on the positive side of things. So yeah, ups and downs during the journey, but I think what is important is that every now and then you stop and reflect on what you've done, what you've achieved, why didn't something work, or why it did, why are the team dynamics working so well, or why is the team struggling with something. And through that you can achieve a lot in both personal growth but in company growth as well. And even if at some point I didn't think you could realistically make a living of making games, I've now assured myself that it is possible, and also that the fact that I would not like to work in any other industry, and I don't plan to. It's a one of a kind thing. A lot of that comes from the feedback from some of the players, some of the kids loving your game. But there's a lot of highlights in the people themselves, people within the company, people within the industry. I keep meeting, I keep going to great places, great events, learn about new exciting games and exciting opportunities, and trying to also more actively be part of the community. And for example, I'm in the board of the Finnish Game Developers Association, which is kind of an organization looking after all the game companies in Finland, and kind of helping them collaborate and work with the government and EU, organize things. So what I mean to say is that I want to be part of the community in through the company, but through other areas as well. And I mean, it's not all fun and games. So the truth is that the business is out there. So if you're just staying in that cellar developing games, it's probably not the best way to be successful in the industry, and reaching out to other folks, other companies, or getting yourself known. And while for many years my work hasn't been about coding the games, I'm still part of those many of those productions. But more importantly, my work is to be present in events, meeting people, organizing partnerships, making deals, looking at new platforms, pitching in a rally car, sailing on the Bay Area in this massive speed sailboat. Like it was actual some world championships speed sailboat. It was pretty crazy. But most of all, it's about the people. It's about being who you are in a community of like-minded people, and people who get the value of what games can be, what kind of value there is behind even a simple looking mobile game. So that's something that gives you a good reason to get up in the morning and get working again. So yeah, that's everything in a nutshell, and now I'm happy to answer any questions you guys here might have.